He's on Teams. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Monroe County Council for our meeting of Tuesday, April 9, 2024, here in the Nat U Hill Room. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. I want to know for the record that in person here in chambers, we've got Councilor Hawk, Councilor Munson, Councilor Wiltz, Councilor Crossley, Councilor Iverson as well, and I'm Councilor Trent Deckard. Joining us via Teams, and I'm gesturing again like I do, but Teams is right in front of me, is our own Councilor McKim. All right, welcome all. I'm going to ask everyone to join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. That takes us to adoption of the agenda. And council, we have no pending ARPA requests before us today. And so without objection from council, I'm going to ask that we table items 14A and 14B to the April 23rd council meeting. Any objections?
None.
No objections, so ordered.
Oh.
Council, or Ms. Turner King, pardon me.
I do have a ARPA related request that I was asked to convey, but it's not related to an appropriation or de-appropriation, so I'm not sure when you would like me to mention that. I can save it till the end.
Why don't we do it at the very end when we get to, if that works okay for you. If not, let me know. And how about right before council comments? Would that work? Are you sure? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Let me know if something changes. And you had something else you're going to know.
Correct. I would also request to table item 11C, the additional appropriation pertaining to the JAG grant related to the Sheriff's Department. I'm continuing to work with the grantor on that appropriation, and so I'd like to request to table it.
Council, if there's no objections, we'll honor the request to table item 11C, the JAG grant. No objections?
No objection.
All right, so ordered. All right. That takes us down to, do I need to adopt this agenda by roll call, Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and adopt the agenda with the changes as noted on items 14A, 14B, as well as 11C.
Is that your motion?
We do, let's have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
So moved. Wait a second.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Let's go to a roll call vote on the adoption of the agenda.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk. Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Wilkes. Counselor Crossley. Yes. Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous, and they everybody going, so, okay.
And thanks to TSD for always working through all these challenges. Let's go ahead to then item number 4. This is public comment. And these are for items not on the agenda for members of the public wishing to make a comment. There will be a time limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have anyone wishing to make a public comment on items not on our agenda here in the Natchez Hill, or anyone attending via Teams? If you're here in the Natchez Hill, just come forward to the table. If you're on Teams, raise your hand and we'll get to you. Please note the public is always welcome to make comments before this council here in the Natchez Hill or via Teams. I'm seeing no takers, so we'll go ahead and move away from public comment. Thank you very much. We'll next move to department updates. I've got a couple here that are of note. There will be a time limit on department updates of 10 minutes per department so that we can get to everyone we need to. And we appreciate very much our departments being here. We'll want them to come back. And next, I'm going to introduce Martha Miller with Soil and Water Management to join us. Welcome, Ms. Miller.
Hello, Council. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update of what we've been up to at Soil and Water. I can barely see Cheryl over the. So we had our 80th annual meeting. Councilman Iverson was there, and Commissioner Thomas was there, and we had Matt Pierce from the state and Shelley Yoder, and Cheryl, Councilwoman Munson. Was there, and so we had a nice showing of folks from the political realm show up and support us. But I wanted to just quickly, you all have in front of you a copy of our 80th annual report. And one of the things that I want to make sure I pointed out in here, when we were preparing for our 80th annual meeting, we found the testimony of the original transcript where the district was formed in 1943. So as I read through that, I was so fascinated by the fact that there were 2 women who were asked to testify and one high school age student who was asked to testify, and that the issues that the farmers brought to the table to argue for the development of this district were on the fact that if it couldn't be cropped because it was causing soil erosion, then it needed to be put in pasture so it was covered. If pasture wouldn't do it and it still caused erosion, then it needed to go into trees. Guess what? That's what we still deal with today. So there are parts of that transcript that are actually in here. We felt that it was important enough to share those with you, so when you get time, you can look at those highlights. One of the things that really came to my mind as I was doing this was that the residents and the politicians have always been the way makers here in Monroe County. They've been models across the state. And the original founders of this conservation district were farmers, businessmen and women, wives, mothers, young adults, people from all walks of life came together because they saw and believed in a better Monroe County for the future generations. I didn't think that could be said any more appropriately today as it was in 1943. So with that, I leave you with the fun to look at. We're going to be at the Garden Fair this Saturday. So anybody who's out and about coming down to Switchyard Park, we're going to be doing free soil testing opportunities for any Monroe County resident through Lake Monroe Water Funds Partnership. We are selling rain barrels once again at the district, which we haven't done for several years. And with the capacity that we have now, they're repurposed food grade barrels. So we don't do new plastic, we do recycled plastic. And we had 71 members or 71 people at our annual meeting. Hunter Smith, who is typically known for his role as a member of the Colts football team, talked about his time with the Colts and got to share his Super Bowl ring with everybody there. So if you weren't there, you missed out on that. But more importantly, he talked about the importance of farming and agriculture and how it plays into the next generation. And that was an important message we felt like. So that's really all I got. I just wanted to share with you guys what we were doing, where we're at, and what's going on. You also have a Bean Blossom watershed flyer in front of you. Interestingly enough, the district was formed in the Bean Blossom watershed. That's where the residents were at that made the most fuss about needing help. That is, this is the second round of planning for that grant since I've been in my position. And we are excited to be able to take that plan and eventually go into implementation with it. But yeah, so that's it unless you guys got questions.
See if we have any questions. Any counselors wishing to make a question here? Counselor Iverson.
Day, which was incredibly well attended, included a series of booths around the exterior from all sorts of organizations. And that was really fun to be there. And I'll note just for the public, if you've never held a Super Bowl ring,
It was pretty cool.
Any other questions? I love the context and history you've got in this report. I'm going to probably spend a lot of late hours tonight and a few other nights breaking this down because it's fascinating. And if the public wanted to take a look at this, is it on your website or how would they find it?
The actual original transcript, if you want to get real technical about it, it's in my office. It's onion skin and it's pretty thin, but if you want to see it, you can see it. Anyone's welcome to come see it. And we actually have the whole transcript retyped so I can email it or send it to anyone that would like to see it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We also, on that note, have 1939 aerials of Monroe County in our office if anybody's ever wants to look at those. So the mall didn't exist, the lake didn't exist. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
Very cool. All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to it next time you're here. All right, that takes us next to Christine McAfee, who I believe is with us via Teams. There she is. Welcome. Ms.
There she
McAfee.
is. Hello,
You're up.
hello. Thank you all for allowing me to join you.
You're
I
right
am,
now.
say it again. Can you hear me?
We're not able to hear you quite yet.
Be enabled.
TSD, can you make sure that she's enabled to give us sound?
Okay.
She's unmuted on our side.
And can you hear me now?
Mm-mm.
We're still not hearing you.
No.
I definitely hear her.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. I hear you loud and clear, so it must be something in the room.
No, we can't hear Jeff either.
Oh,
Yeah. You can't hear Counselor McKim?
No, he just.
Oh, wow.
I think they feel like you're way more important than me, Jeff. So I
Yeah, I
won't
don't
take
think
it
so.
personally.
Let's double check that.
We go to council liaison.
Any luck yet?
Let's do this. While we're trying to fix this, let's see if we have another department looking to make a report, and then we'll come back around. And TSD, if you can help troubleshoot just a little on that. All right, other department looking to provide an update. All right, Jail Commander's here. Welcome.
Thank you. We'll be quick here. We've got both sides here, but it's going to be within the 10-minute time frame, I promise. Just want to give you guys staffing update. Nothing's changed. 100% full staffed. Booking information is 214 total inmates as of a few hours ago. Our secure bed count is 184. We have 183 males in the facility, 31 females. New bookings in the last 2 days, we have 19. Releases in the last 2 days, 12. Of the 214 inmates, 173 are felons, felonious charges, I should say. 34 are misdemeanor and 7 are the other holds. Recent bookings at the facility, parole violation, failure to appear, criminal mischief, possession of a controlled substance, domestic battery, criminal confinement, possession of paraphernalia, intimidation, criminal recklessness, possession of methamphetamine, and battery. There are our most recent charges. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. On April 2nd, we had our jail inspection, state jail inspection. We received high marks as it pertains to the facility in cleanliness and operations. The condition of the facility, in its current condition, the jail inspector said it's one of the cleanest in the state that he's seen. So that's really just a product of staff, inmate workers, everybody working together, and commissioners and the council and everybody, Monroe County, making that happen. So that's actually really good to hear somebody at that level speak to that. He met with multiple members of the inmate population in the women's and the men's dorm. They spoke very highly, the inmates themselves, the residents, of the culture change, as well as the physical change in the facility since Sheriff Marte took office. The jail inspector determined that we have satisfied our obligations as it pertains to the Indiana County Jail Inspection Standards. We ordered all the equipment, desks, everything required for the transition office at the Showers building. So we're getting ready to kick that off. And as of this morning, we have conducted 15 interviews for the 6 potential positions. That is all for the jail. Do you have any questions for that side?
It's 15 interviews for one position or a couple positions?
6.
6. Okay. Counselors, questions for the jail commander? Counselor Iverson.
We know that just a few weeks ago, the elevator was broken and there's been ongoing issues with different structural impacts of the jail, elements of the jail, excuse me. Were any of those found in the inspection, or can you talk to us about some of the more long-term structural deficits of the building?
As far as the structure of the building goes, the inspector did give us a ding on the elevator. We've got negative marks for locks in the facility. They're not always secure. They don't always show secure. We had remarks for some lack of cameras in certain areas. As you guys know, when we went through the pony training, there are different requirements for newer facilities in terms of what years certain things come into place, and we'll be able to get ahead of that. So although we're within realm of operation, he still saw that as a potential issue, which we have already talked about. But structurally, he again stated that it's a failing facility.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Counselor Hawk.
Okay, now's the one. Okay. We got new mics today for whatever reason. I noticed when I was going over the booking information, etc., it seemed there were more that was under maximum security than what I had noticed in the past. Is that what you're saying, that you need more and more in that maximum security area?
Well, it depends on what report you're talking about. Are you talking about the classification process?
I'm just taking it when you're looking at the population, and then it'll show the names and it'll show whether or not they're in maximum or minimum security. And it just seemed to me, maybe I just hadn't noticed quite so many, but it seemed to me there was more in the maximum than what had been in the past.
Well, what you're actually seeing is absolutely true. We have more maximum classification inmates in terms of how long they stay at the facility. So our minimum security guys and girls, they come and go pretty quickly. And you'll have more as a whole of those type of people, but it's continuously moving. But the maximum security inmates stay longer, obviously. And then when we get, for instance, some new charges just came in, felony battery, domestic battery, possession of controlled substance. Some of these have like criminal recklessness with a firearm. These are the kind of charges that you get automatically classified as a maximum security inmate. So, and that's kind of what we're seeing as it gets warmer outside. On the roadside, we'll pick up a little bit more with people being more active in the community, and those type of people will come into the facility more often. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Munson.
There we go. For your inspection, was there any comment about the roof and the problems that it had caused in the past, or is this completely resolved? Because I know we will be using our current jail for some time more until our new one is complete.
We did look at it. It was after a pretty hard rain, and I don't know if it was because of that weather, how seriously hard the rain came down. We did have a small leak again in a different place. But as it pertains to the roof itself, it leaks throughout the facility. It leaks into the courtrooms. It leaks down to the first floor. It travels certain paths. It may have some kind of issue up the top on the north-south side, and the leak on the north side traveling down the wall. So he did notice that. The issue that we had before with that ceiling initially, that's been rectified, but it's got another leak within 2 feet of that area. So it's going to be a continuous issue with that roof.
I will have to say in that particular instance, though, I think that's the first leak we've had, and it was a thunderous rainstorm. So
with hail.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to sit here and say the roof has failed. That was a very, very, very unusual rain. So we're keeping a very, very close eye on it, but it did leak. There's no question about that. But no, it was pretty minimal.
So thank you. Keep us up to date on that, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll bring us up to speed on the merit side. Obviously, you had a major event come and go in 4 minutes yesterday that we planned for a year and a half for. But all in all, it was a little surprising, but it was a very successful. I'm going to go over a few stats with you here, but basically an uneventful eclipse other than the eclipse itself. So just real quickly, those, it's kind of being, you can over prepare and look like you over prepared, or you can under prepare and look like you under prepared. So we prepared for what we believed in the historical part of this. And I don't know if the messaging was so strong throughout this community that, people looked at it and decided to, stay at home or whatever they did. But however that worked out, I still think the event itself was very successful. We watched downtown here. The sheriff and I drove around, and there were people out. They were very well behaved. We had no issues during that part of the event. So from about 7 o'clock in the morning till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we had 24 deputies out. We bumped that up from 1 o'clock to about 4 o'clock to 37 deputies. So they overlapped a little bit. And to show you how well that event went, after 4 o'clock, we dropped down to 7. So we went from 37 to 7 because it fell off that quickly. The traffic dissipated what was there. So I told our road commander I wanted to give you just a few stats here, because I wanted to look at what we normally do on an average Monday versus what we did on Eclipse Day. And on that day, yesterday, we had 41 calls for service. And we went back 4 previous Mondays same time frame, I looked at from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the next morning, so 24-hour period. And our average for those previous was 51. So our calls for service actually decreased from a normal average day on Monday on that event day. So I thought that was kind of a neat statistic. So nothing really to report. Nothing unusual. I think our first arrest on yesterday came maybe 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock or something like that. So, you know, we weren't hauling people into jail. I guess they wanted to behave, so at least got to see the eclipse anyway. So they behaved until it was over with. But so can't really say enough good things about how that detail actually went. The interstates were clear. The county roads were clear. We had some crowds at Lemon Lake and Summit Monroe, but nothing out of the unusual. So that brings us up to speed on the eclipse. Just staffing for the merit side, we have 2 vacancies. Just today, we announced our selection process to fill those remaining vacancies. So I hope to be coming before you probably sometime in June to say that those vacancies have been filled and we're fully staffed. We're trying to catch up to the jail. So anyway, that's all we have to report on the sheriff's side.
Thank you, Chief Deputy Parker. Questions for Chief Deputy? All right. Yeah, Counselor Iverson.
So what you just said, I think we're also trying to get track of and kind of understand it, that, I mean, we were all prepared for Bedlam yesterday.
Yes.
I mean, I was waiting by my phone to get a text message from somebody saying, you know, bunker down. And you all, I mean, like you said, you've been planning for a year, more than on it. So just congratulations. That's such a remarkable thing to be able to say, is that it was so quiet.
Yeah, it truly was. And you know, it's we were up on the roof of the jail to watch it. We have a pretty good view up there. And you just looked around and you just saw everybody just having a good time. Cheers went up when we got to totality there, and cheers went up when sun peaked out again. And you just kind of watching that whole event unfold, the lead up to it, people walking around, just excited about it. And then when it was over, just went about their business. And it was, I think it just kind of speaks to Monroe County that you hear about these things happening all over the place, and the citizens and the fire, BPD, all of us, we've all been meeting about this and having contingency plans about what we were going to do if, and there wasn't a single if that presented itself. So
that's the benefit of planning.
Yeah. Uneventful's okay. We'll take it. It's a good day. All right. Thank you so much. And Miss McAfee's been very patient. Let's see if we can try her again here.
Hello there.
Yeah, there you are.
Yay, shout out to Greg and TSD. He said he was practicing and I was clicking and he said whatever he did worked. So thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you again for allowing me to be here today. Departmental updates. I'm hoping on the screen you might be able to see one of 2 flyers that I forwarded earlier last week. Through the JDAI program, Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative, we have partnered with 2 community agencies to provide resources to kids and families, and I wanted to share that news with you all. The first one is the Parenting Project.
Let's hold on one second. I'm going to make sure we're sharing what you're referring. And does the TSD have that, or is it you, Michelle?
Sorry, we had a 0-hour change. I was supposed to be your plan technician.
You're fine. We've got the best of the best doing this. Thank you, Mr. Crum. Ms. McAfee, which document did you want us to share first?
Whichever one you pull up, I'm happy to talk about. So whatever's easiest.
She's flexible. Just give us a second. We'll get back.
Sure. There you go. Perfect. So our department with the county support has partnered with PALS, which is the People and Assisted Learning Services, Equine Assisted Interventions, which is over on the far west side. And we are providing an opportunity for young people and an adult parent or caregiver to participate in 12-session interactive ground-based equine experience. This is a curriculum that they have developed specifically for young people and adults to help identify, help them identify what emotions are and give words to that. So instead of thinking everything is either great or I'm unhappy, there's a whole lot of stuff in between. So learning to actually use our words to talk about how we're feeling. I am not a horse person, but what I have learned, horses are super intuitive to our behavior. And so if I show up and I'm really anxious and irritable, the horse kind of picks that up and responds correspondingly. And so this opportunity is to really help young people and parents, caregivers, talk about what's going on and figure out ways for better self-regulation. Again, it is 12 weeks. There is no cost to the young person or parent, caregiver, adult. I can tell you, we just put this out last week and our first session is already full. But if that sounds like somebody who's if it sounds like something someone who is watching is interested in, on this flyer is my contact information. We are starting a wait list for our fall programming, which will probably start mid to late August. Again, it is for 12-ish to 17-year-olds. They do need to have a parent or caregiver. It doesn't have to be the parent, it could be a grandparent. It could be someone that this person is close to. We do want it to be someone that they spend significant time with. 12 sessions. Currently, our schedule is Wednesday and Saturday, but next year or next session will probably look a little different. So if somebody's looking at this thinking it sounds great, they want to learn more about it, my contact information is on that flyer. Please reach out. This is, again, it is for the community. We are really working at prevention and how can we help families develop the skills and resources to prevent introduction into the justice system so they don't have to be system involved at all.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from council on this? I'm not seeing any questions. And did you have a second document you wanted us to share?
I do. It should say the Parent Project.
All right, we'll pull that up.
Yep, that's it. It's the manual the hospital forgot to give you. This is specifically for parents of adolescents. So again, that 12, 13 to 17-year range. This is for parents specifically, but it's really designed to help support parents, give concrete hands-on examples of ways to talk to your young person. What are reasonable goals? What are reasonable consequences? How can we get out of the arguing, fussing, and fighting with our kids and into that more co-parenting and really helping our young people become successful adults? We also know that it's hard to ask for help. We know that our time is super valuable. So as an incentive for parents that are participating in this, we have a $20 Visa gift card for each session they attend that can help support if there's childcare that's needing to happen outside of this program for the family to attend. It can support transportation costs. But again, we want to recognize that individuals who show up for this, it's 3 hours once a week. That is a huge commitment. And so in response to that commitment, we want to say thank you with that $20 Visa gift card. Again, my contact information is on the flyer. If you have interest in learning more, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on there, as well as my office number for my desk phone.
Thank you. There'll be a rush of parents on that one, I would think.
I hope so. You know, again, I have 3 kids that I am proud to say have gotten close to adulthood, and it's hard. And with this changing landscape of social media and technology and, you know, all of the other things that our young people are experiencing, it is hard. And this really is in an effort to support parents in trying to do the right thing and supporting us so that, you know, one of the biggest things that has come out of this for other counties that have provided this is sometimes parents feel alone, or they feel like they're the only one that are having these struggles. And sometimes just having community and knowing that I'm not alone can be really, really helpful to hear. So I sincerely hope that we have folks that are going to pick up that phone or get on their phone and make that email reach out.
Thank you very much. I felt a lot of parents lean forward in this room. I'll just put it that way. So.
Well, good. My contact number is on there. I got to head out because my dog's at doggy daycare, but after that, I'll be here tomorrow.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. If I have any questions, I'm happy to stick around.
Oh yeah. Any questions here? Councilor Crossley.
Hi, just one quick question. Is that flyer something that the council could have so that we can also try to promote this event for you as well? Something that we can kind of post throughout, you know, social media outlets for people?
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yes. I can get that sent out immediately.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right, well, these are awesome updates. Thank you very much. And you found some topics of interest for folks I know. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And a shout out to our community, because without the support of the council commissioners and the community as a whole, we wouldn't be able to offer these great things. So thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Go to any other department wishing to make an update here in the Nat U Hill or on Teams. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to council liaison updates. Councilors, are there any liaison updates you'd like to make? Councilor Iverson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 updates for the council today. The first is that the Blue Ribbon Commission on Climate Resiliency met. And we are excited about Earth Day, so get out your calendars and mark April 22nd is Earth Day. And in order to celebrate that day, we are poised to have a robust conversation with the Monroe County Commissioners about Indiana's first climate resilience plan. And so we're really excited to mark Earth Day with that climate resilience plan. The second update that I wanted to bring to you all is a packet that I gave to each one of you, and it regards the opioid settlement funding. You all asked that I sit on that committee, and today I bring to you some of the work that has been done. We are currently, the background on this is that from 2012 to 2016, there were 58 Indiana counties that did opioid prescribing rates greater than 100 prescriptions per 100 residents. And so the state of Indiana acquired and distributed funds to fight this epidemic. Over the years, our county expects to receive approximately $5 million. This is a lot of money, and it requires due diligence, and those are the documents that I have for you all today. The first document is a proposal procedure. It outlines how community organizations can apply to receive these funds. It is a series of steps that culminates in eligibility, that sets out eligibility and culminates in organizations in the community reaching out to the assessor's office to let them know that they would like to apply.
You mean the audit?
I do. Thank you.
We had them both.
The application that the organizations are going to fill out is the second document that I've given you, council. These are, I will say for the public, these are all in draft form. So nothing has been adopted yet, nothing has been approved yet. We wanted to just get these in front of your eyeballs to let you know kind of the direction we're thinking about going. There are two applications that will be available. One is to organizations wishing to apply for funding as it pertains to substance use disorder. The second application will be for individuals looking to become peer recovery coaches. So scholarship funds might be made available. Then, once all of those applications have been made, we go to the third document in your packet, which is the opioid funding review. This document lets you, members of the council, know that the due diligence has been made in county government, that eligibility has been met, that organizations can indeed apply for these funds and what these funds are going to be used for. Staff has reviewed it and we'll be moving on from there. I think at this point, I want to make sure that I've said everything correctly. Ms. Bree Gregory, do I need to add anything or would you like to add anything to this process?
Just one point of clarification. Organizations and county departments can
Yes.
apply for this funding.
Absolutely.
So, but we would like everybody to use like one standard application process just to keep organized and to have a process and procedure in place. I can also provide an update on balances and current appropriations within the fund if that is of interest at this time as well.
Okay, well, let's see. Councilor Wiltz.
I have a question about the application process. Is it a rolling application with just ongoing into the future, or are there periodic deadlines for certain amounts, or how does that work?
That hasn't been defined yet. However, we've been playing with a few different thoughts that we'd bring, you know, these applications to you quarterly for approval to both you and the commissioners, because obviously the commissioners have to approve the contracts involved, and then you'll have to appropriate if you so choose. But I'm not sure if we'll, if Royal here, if you would like to like have like, you know, a specific sum of money put aside, you know, for this use, or if we should have a specific deadline, or how to move forward in that aspect.
Okay, I look forward to finding out.
Feel free to submit your recommendations as well. This is as much your procedures as anyone else's.
And I wanted to jump in on that and say that I asked Councilor Iverson and the auditor to I told them that today we would try to get a sense or spirit of the council if this seems like a right direction to be heading, and if there's other input on that. And I kind of want to follow the intent and spirit of the council in that if there are things that are coming to folks' minds, any initial concerns or any initial praises for this approach so that it can maybe direct that process a little bit. Councilor Hawk.
Do this out there. So if a group was allowed to, you know, this will work, then for whatever reason, they didn't get it off and get it done in the time that they thought, just like some of the ARPA things, would we review it and then be able to either say, if you're not going to be able to do it, we can recapture that money so we can use it for others? Is that covered in here someplace?
Absolutely, and I think you see a lot of some of the lessons that we learned in the ARPA process trying to be addressed here, trying to make it more transparent on how you apply, making this application will be on the county's website, so any organization that is eligible or county department can apply. But I think in terms of whether an organization has historically not done its due diligence with an award and whether they can apply it or not, again, I think that's going to be part of the review procedure. Okay, yeah, that'll be part of that review procedure. And please note, Councilmember Hawk, your comments in the past have been taken into note here. The application procedure goes through staff office, but the actual approval happens right here at this body for fiscal matters. So we retain control over that.
Any other questions, comments? Counselor Crossley?
Thank you for updating us on this, because this is something that actually was planning or hoping today that we would get an update on. The only question that I have regarding this is, when do you think that this will go live for the public to know?
I'm so glad you asked it on the date for me. Would you mind chiming in, please?
That was not planned either, by the way. Me asking that question as well. Just, never mind.
Okay.
So this, just for preliminary, just to get it moving, we have supplied TSD with this information. They're working on, just on the back end, getting this prepared to go live. We anticipate being able to go live at 12. However, that is pending approval, of course.
I'm sorry, what was the date?
The 12th, April 12th, with approval, of course.
Go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. So April 12th, that's when TSD will have it posted on the website, and we will be prepared for people to submit applications, but it's not a portal on the website. It's email is the submission method. Is that correct? From what I'm reading?
I have to talk with TSD a little further. I'm not certain the avenue of the path we're taking for that. So, and I didn't speak with them directly. So they're working on preparing to go live. We hope that it's ready the 12th.
Okay.
That's not in stone yet.
And the ambiguity is set into step 2, where we assume there would be a submit button, but there's also that fallback that if for whatever reason that doesn't work, you can also email staff.
So in reading that, I understood it to be, if you chose to do the email submission, it was to all 3, but do you mean to any of these 3?
No, all 3 emails are on there, so that if someone is out sick or someone is out, taking care of dog care or whatever, that there are 3 people who saw the application come in. Again, one of the lessons we've learned in the past is that sometimes people submit an application and no one saw it come in, and we had to play, catch up. And so we don't want to play catch up. We want to make sure that 3 emails get this. And similarly, when the submit button is hit, that also will trigger a series of notifications to multiple people. And that duplication just ensures that we're not dropping the ball. This is very important to a lot of organizations.
Councilor Crossley?
Just one more question related to application submission. Since it goes to 3 individuals here in the county as well, does the applicant themselves get something as a bounce back to let them know that an application has been successfully submitted?
I would prefer that, and that's something we've learned in Sophia Travis, is that organizations do really like to know that they did it correctly. So that is, I think that's something we want to do. And I also want to, publicly thank you, Councilman Crossley, for asking all these questions, because a lot of the desire for us to be as transparent as possible with this comes from your wanting to know more about this. And if you want to know more about this, it almost certainly means there's members of the public that want to know more about it.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Wiltz?
I'm curious as to what others think about the concept of having a due date or an annual due date. Right now, it seems as though we're not going to have all of the funds for a long time. So it's coming in, front loaded, but we can't give out $5 million in 2024. But at the same time, we're saying that this is a first come, first serve sort of application process as it's currently defined. So I'm just wondering, I feel like there might be some difficulty in knowing how to prioritize with that process. I'm open to other thoughts.
So on step 1 of the review and approval process, it notes that deadline is a quarterly basis that's on this document. And maybe it needs to be more frequent than that on the second page.
Okay.
And again, I want to acknowledge, this is the first time council's been looking at these documents. So if you want to make recommendations and we come back to it, that's, I understand that as well, but quarterly is what we were thinking, that the committee would review, that's the opioid settlement committee, would review the applications and then bring it, and then make recommendations to council as to whether or not there should be a fund, any funds, or what level of funding should be available. And of course, we'll know the account balances during those meetings, so we'll know. I also want to point out that there's been a lot of conversation that we don't want to make perfect the enemy of the good here, that we want to get this going, and then I think we've got enough to fly, and then we can kind of, adjust it once it's up in the air. But also, I want to make sure that, all questions are asked as well.
Councilor Munson.
So I just wanted to comment from having overseen application processes handled by the council, that I don't think you want to have more than quarterly. I think that would exhaust your committee members and our staff. And I think once it is known that it is going to be quarterly, then organizations and individuals can adapt to that.
Go ahead.
Is there a way then that organizations or people wishing to apply will know what the funding available is each quarter, and so can tie what they ask for to what's available? And then also, and I saw there was a procedure, if someone was denied, they could request a review and then a final decision would be made. So does that mean that they can't apply again?
So I'll start with the last point first.
Okay.
If a denial happens, it's project-based. We've already seen one organization come forward with 2 separate projects, so a van and a building. So if a project is denied, then that project will that's it, right? We are not going to deny an organization based on an application for use of a project.
Let me throw this question out to council, because I've heard some really good questions asked of it. Is the read that I'm picking up in the room that this is heading more in this direction than not, sort of the sentiment of the council as far as an application process with some quarterly deadlines or some deadlines we may have to adjust? Is this heading in the right direction? I think the auditor, Councilor Iverson, and the working group particularly kind of want to make sure they're heading the right track. Is that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is great. Thank you for working on it. Don't take my questions as criticism. They just pop in my head and then out my mouth. So.
Well, and I will mention, even though we're sitting here and getting all the credit for this, the real work is being done by Carly Woodruff in the office. And she's not here right now, but if she were here, we would be singing her praises. She put a lot of work into this document, and that always tends to happen, right? The Monroe County staff are doing all this amazing work, oftentimes not sitting in the limelight. So I'm willing to give her all the credit that's due.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I hope that this answers some questions that we had, and we'll keep moving more in this direction than not. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome. Other council liaison updates? Seeing none, let's move on to item 7. It's consent agenda items. We have none tonight, so we'll move on to item number 8, Aviation Department. Mr. Laverty is here.
Council, I move to approve the Aviation Department request for an additional appropriation in Fund 4802-0000 Aviation Building in the amount of $70,000 in the services category.
I need a second. All right, thank you. We've got a second. Mr. Laverty, welcome to council. We know you had a busy start to your week. We appreciate all your work during the eclipse.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. It was Yeah, it was a busy day for the airport. We had approximately 100 additional aircraft come in over the weekend. I think 86 of them arrived between 11 and 2 p.m. yesterday. It was really fun to see. We were anticipating about 30 more aircraft had prepaid for their reservations, holding a slot there. But the early morning had some visibility issues here in Bloomington. We had that low cloud layer, so we think that kept away about 30 aircraft, which worked out because we had already done the math, and we knew that if the planes that told us they were going to need fuel actually did, well, we were going to have problems and there was going to be delays and backups. And we actually received the magic number. It was just about 100. So everybody that came in was fueled as soon as possible. And we had just finished fueling all the planes on the deck just about 5 minutes before totality. So everybody at the airport, including the employees, was able to enjoy the eclipse. And it was really cool because, we had like 60 jets, and it was really noisy, really busy. And then it was just kind of silence and beauty. And then when the sun came back, it was just like, gentlemen, start your engines. And it was very, very amazing. We got about 100 aircraft out of there in just about 3 hours. When I get the media together, we're going to try to get the recordings from the air traffic control tower and make that available, because both frequencies were going on ground control and air control. We had planes, stacked up sometimes 15 deep waiting for departure. It was really cool. We would have got them all out sooner, but because the entire airspace over the Midwest was saturated, the FAA started staggering. So we had planes sitting on the runway just waiting for a green light from some magic office somewhere in the FAA. And then they were like, okay, you can release that guy. And then he would go. It was amazing. We had really positive reviews from all of our customers, both FBOs on the airport, the air traffic control staff. Everybody agrees everything went about as well as we could have hoped. We probably had about 300 to 400 people who flew in and just remained on property. We had a food truck available for them and a viewing area. And so we're probably a little bit fortunate from that weather, and we did get those additional aircraft that would have put us over the hump, but it was very good. Awesome. So I'm here today with some real business. The request for approval of additional appropriation. The airport has requested additional appropriation in support of comprehensive refurbishment of the maintenance and operations facility. This project includes repairs to the masonry, roof, new energy efficient windows, HVAC installation, a restroom to accommodate the growing multi-gender workforce, and the establishment of a secondary egress point of safety. The space will also be fitted with new office and training areas for staff. So back in 2020, we relocated the operations and maintenance facility for the airport staff. They were using an old vehicle garage that didn't have any air conditioning, break rooms or anything. There was one small office where they kept a safe and a desk. So we had a vacant hangar that we moved the operations to back in 2020. It was in pretty rough shape. The building was built in 1982, and it had been vacant for a number of years. And they made some repairs. They replaced the large hangar door. There used to be a cantilever hangar door, so it was very heavy. We did some initial maintenance and upkeep, but the roof has continued to leak. The old cantilever style hangar door put a lot of stress on the masonry. So there was some cracked masonry that needed repairs. The windows were vintage 1982. And as we're trying to grow our staff, we're a little bit more inclusive now with the addition of a few female employees, and the more training that we're trying to do. We need a facility that works for our staff where they can be comfortable to do their jobs, train, and have adequate facilities. So we're requesting an appropriation within our building fund to support this the refurbishment of this building.
Okay. All right, we'll go to questions or comments from council.
I did forget to mention, in case anyone, that we're asking for the appropriation from the building fund, which at the moment, well, as of March 31st, it had $711,000 and 636.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Iverson.
Well, so first of all, congratulations on a relatively quiet day. I mean, it was loud at the end and everything, but no accidents and no incidents. Thank you. You shared out some highlights of the day as well as some photos. I certainly hope you make those photos public. That's really cool to see all the planes just lined up. That's really neat to see. So
yeah, that was really neat. We had a couple good vantage points, and by the time I was able to run to that camera and snap some pictures, it was already dying down a little bit. So it was quite a day for the Monroe County Airport.
And I appreciate your note of collaboration too, because I talked to some folks who they were up in the air for about 8 hours just patrolling the highways and just making sure that if traffic jams happened, so there's a lot of things that happened yesterday, and it sounds like it worked really well.
Yeah, it really did. We had to been, as a lot of other agencies around here, we've been planning this since we started March of last year. I remember we reserved the porta potties April 11th, 2023. So yeah, we had all kind of heard the warnings and did everything we could to and try to ensure everything ran smoothly.
Other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, let's go to comments from the public. If you have a comment on this item, please come forward in the Nat U Hill or raise your hand on Teams. Seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Munson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor McKim?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous.
Takes us to item B.
That would be me. Council, I move to approve the Aviation Department request for the creation of new account lines in Fund 8187-0000 Airport Infrastructure Grant as set out on the agenda, and to simultaneously approve additional appropriations of $570,770 in the services category.
Okay.
Mr. Laverty.
Okay. The Monroe County Airport received a Federal Aviation Administration grant for an airport master plan study. The total grant amount is $570,000 with the ratio as follows: 90% federal, 5% state, 5% local. The department has requested a creation of a fund and 3 appropriation lines for each portion. This is a performance period-based grant. Therefore, pay requests are submitted based on percentage of work completed. So I think we mentioned this piece of work here before, but we did receive a grant from Federal Aviation Administration to proceed with a master plan study, which pretty much charts the future growth of the airport over the next 20 to 30 years. We were awarded the grant, and the Monroe County Commissioners did award the 5% county local match.
Councilor Iverson.
So for anybody thinking about the way the county is going to be going into the future, this is very exciting. I know you've been here to talk about this before, and the commissioners obviously took care of it, but this is really exciting work. And I guess my question to you is, I know we're talking about the master plan study decades in the future. What about some of the funding that's coming down the pike that will help put into place some of these plans, such as ready funds? Does this pave the way for some of that work to be done?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, yeah, we're pursuing some ready funds right now for a particular project. There's a small batch of projects that we've kind of grouped together, and we're pursuing Ready 2.0. There's a small batch of 4 projects. One of them includes a possible new terminal building for the airport. This unfortunately, this master plan, as excited we are about it, it's anywhere from an 18 to a 36-month process. For an airport our size, probably more like the 18-month process. The good news is, if Ready 2 doesn't work out for us, yes, this master plan is most certainly going to identify a lot of these needs that we're claiming already. And it's only going to help us when it comes time to request grants from the Federal Aviation Administration or other entities, particularly the FAA. Strikingly enough, the Monroe County Airport has never gone through the master plan process. And for a lot of the larger capital scale projects that we're looking at, this is a prerequisite. So we're very excited about this. We're going to look at the entire property, down from parking lots, terminal buildings, hangars, taxiways, runways. We're going to identify the current status and conditions of those today. And we're going to look at future aviation trends, travel trends, demographic trends to identify how the airport can best serve this community now and in the future. So yeah, as we look to grow the airport, this is going to be extremely important piece of work for us to have, on the shelf to pull off as needed.
I share your excitement.
Thank you.
Councilor Munson.
So I'm excited about this for you as well. And I will want to note for the public that this is a $500,000 master plan that is being undertaken, with 5% of it being local funding. How long do you have to put this plan together?
It's very, getting a little reverb on the vocals here. Okay. We have, with the FAA grant that we have here, we have 2 years to kick this off. The good news is we've already kicked it off a little bit here. We've kind of, in fact, my kickoff meeting is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We're really excited. We've been very eager to get this going. But once work has started, I think we have, I could be wrong, I think we have a total of 3 years to get this complete, but we won't be anywhere near that. We're really excited. The team that we've partnered with, Wolpert, they're very motivated. They have a very good team, experienced people that I've worked with in the past. So we're on it.
I know this is foundational to have such a plan for being able to apply for other funding for implementing the plan. Is there any implementation funding that is part of this $500,000?
The $500,000 grant we're talking about is strictly to produce a master plan. That is it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's like some of the work that is done in this is actually flying approaches to the airport to verify the workability and feasibility of the instrument approaches we have now. So it's not just it's not just sitting around with a bunch of nerds talking about, what are we gonna do here, guys? There's a lot of boots on the ground, survey work, engineering, and the flying the approaches at the airport, which is probably the most significant cost of the whole project.
Thanks for explaining more.
Sure. Thank you.
You answered my question. Councilor Iverson.
I just want to point out, you need the nerds too.
I'm the de facto nerd at the airport.
All right.
So.
All right, let's see if the public's got any comment on this item. If you do, come forward in the Nat U Hill or raise your hand on Teams. All right, seeing none, let's go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Decker,
Yes.
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 yes, motion passed unanimous.
Thank you. Let's go to item C.
Council, I move to approve the Aviation Department request for fund-to-fund transfer of cash from Fund 1138-0000 Cumulative Capital Development to Fund 8187-0000 Airport Infrastructure Grant in the amount of $28,539.
Mr. Laverty.
Okay, the Monroe County Airport has requested a fund-to-fund transfer to fund, from Fund 1138 to Fund 8187. The cash transfer will cover the local match portion of the grant in item B. The transfer was approved by the Board of Commissioners on March 27th, 2024. As we mentioned earlier, the commissioners did appropriate the matching funds, and this is just simply a request to transfer from one account to the next.
Questions or comments from council? All right. Seeing none, we'll go to public comments. Come forward, the Nat U Hill, or raise your hand on Teams. Seeing none, let's go to a roll call vote.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk is not present. Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Laverty. Have a good night. All right, we'll go to item number 9, and that's the Highway Department.
Council, I move to approve the Highways Department's request for the creation of new account lines in Fund 1135-0000 Cumulative Bridge as set out on the agenda, and to simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $25,000 in the services category.
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you very much. Miss Lisa Ridge, welcome.
Good evening. It's pretty cut and dry. We're just creating 4 new account lines. So if we experience any expenses out of our grant projects, that they can be paid out of the Cume Bridge. And then our small structure inventory, that just, since it was new that we couldn't encumber, and that's just something new for us to get used to, it was just overlooked of adding that additional into that line for 2024.
Okay. Go to questions or comments from counselors. Not seeing any. All right, so we'll go to public comment on the item. Come forward, the Nat U Hill, or raise your hand on Teams. Seeing none, let's go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Have a good night. Let's go to item number 10. This is a request from the Jail Correction Center.
Council, I move to approve the jail's request for new account lines in Fund 1233-0000 Correctional Lit as set out on the agenda, and to simultaneously approve additional appropriations in the amount of $402,570 in the personnel category.
All right. Welcome. We've got Sheriff Marte, Chief Deputy Parker, and Mr. Miller. All right. I'll turn it over to you. Welcome back.
Good evening, Council. This is pretty straightforward. We're here to hopefully continue the process of for the 6 correctional officers. As you were informed, we already have the location as far as where the office and also their furniture. So now we just need the people. So that being said, if you have questions, I'll ask.
Okay. Other questions or comments from counselors? Counselor Iverson.
We talked about getting this done quickly, and here we are. So
we're doing it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none.
So it was already discussed. So just so the public knows.
For the public
We-
notice.
We've already had a full discussion.
Second time around the sun, so to speak, to borrow from our weekly metaphor here. All right, any other comments, counselors? Let's see if the public has any comments. Come forward, the Nat U Hill, or raise your hand on Teams. All right, seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz. Yes. Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. That takes us to item 11, also a request from the Sheriff's Office.
Council, I move to approve the sheriff's request to de-appropriation account line 17101 overtime and fund 1000-0005 general fund sheriff in the amount of $1,445.32 in the personnel category.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All right. Yes, Mr.
Good
Miller.
evening, council. Jordan Miller, financial coordinator for the jail. I'm here with Jamie Yonke, office administrator for the sheriff's office. Kind of passing the torch. This is kind of the introduction, official introduction to Jamie.
Thank you.
So we're going to be doing this item together. Basically what this is moving funds where the payment took place from our CHIRP grant. It was initially paid from our county general. The funds are received after the fact, so we paid it from county general, and now this is just kind of housekeeping to move the funds back to that CHIRP grant location as they should be. Any questions?
Okay. Other questions or comments from counselors?
No.
All right, not seeing any. Let's see if the public has any comments on this one. Please come forward to Nat Hill or raise your hand on Teams. Seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote. And welcome, by the way.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz. Yes. Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor McKim.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
All right, that takes us to 11B.
Council, I move to approve the sheriff's request for an additional appropriation in Fund 8103-0000 Operation Pullover Grant in the amount of $1,445.32 in the personnel category.
The other side of the coin to that piece. This is just moving those funds, again, appropriating those funds to our CHIRP grant 8103 fund. They were initially paid from county general 1,000.
Okay. Counselors, do you have any questions or comments on item 11B? All right, thank you very much. And I got it in the roll, but welcome. We're delighted you're here and you're joining a great team. All right. Public, did you have any comments? Come forward to the Nat Hill or raise your hand on Teams. Seeing none, let's go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz. Yes. Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk, Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Thank you very much, Sharon. Good to see your team here. All right, we're going to jump down to item 12, and this is a request from the assessor's office.
Council, I will be combining items 12A, 12B, and 12C into one motion. Council, I move to approve the assessor's request to approve the department's amended job descriptions and to simultaneously amend the 2024 salary ordinance in Fund 1000-0008 General Fund Assessor and Fund 1131-0000 Sales Disclosure by updating the job description titles, classifications, and hours from 35 to 40 hours weekly as outlined on the agenda with an effective date of April 7th, 2024.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We want to welcome our assessor, Judy Sharp, as well as her chief deputy, back to council. Ms. Assessor, what do you got to tell us?
Well, thank you for having us back. Just for the public, and you all know this has been a long journey since August. And I appreciate all the help I had from the council people, Marty Hawk and Peter Iverson, who are now my liaisons, went way over and above, I think, that anyone could have expected. I appreciate them so much, and I appreciate you, Trent, coming down. I think your eyes were open when you were sitting there. I really appreciate you all. This, my staff is very hopeful that this will be passed tonight. Very ecstatic. They really, really are. I think this is long overdue. I don't think we're asking for anything outrageous. You can see it all down here, and I know the public, and it's all public information. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to take up all your time. You're got 5 minutes before you have to adjourn.
That's what they say. I'll believe it when I see it. All right, I see hands going up. Counselor Iverson.
You are absolutely right. This is a lot. Your item here takes up 66 pages of this packet, which is over 1/3. It's about 37% of the entire packet is this item. So.
But we make up 100% of the revenue that you get into this county.
Your passion exceeds even that. Yes. You are absolutely right. A lot of work went into this. And I want to take just a second here to thank Ms. Kim Shell because she really put in a lot of work making sure the job descriptions were just so that are in the packet today. So thank you. And I'm sorry, Molly Turner King also was very instrumental. So thank you. Staff did an amazing job as well. Council, I want to just clarify that PAC did hear each and every one of these job descriptions, each and every one of these salaries at our last meeting, and we reviewed the PAC recommendations the WIS recommendations, and PAC made some edits. We felt like WIS didn't get the salaries just quite right, so we bumped them up a little bit there. But we also made sure that all of the job descriptions now actually reflect the technical and scientific work that's being done in the office. So I'm really excited about this making it to council and PAC's recommendation that council review this, and I'm certainly going to be supporting this because I think it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you, Councilor Iverson. Councilor Hawk.
What I wanted to mention was, in case you looked at the review from Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, you would see that they were comparing us to other counties. And so I proceeded to call those other counties because I wanted to know just exactly what the difference was. And they were comparing us to people who just simply did data entry. It was not at all, did not reflect our office. So I'm glad I made those calls. I think we may have to start making more calls to follow up on some of this information. I then also checked to see the comparison between the property side in the other counties and the property side of our county. And I think that was what helped us make the decision that we didn't want to rely on some of that information that we had received without doing some due diligence. I just wanted to share that because this has been a long time coming, and these folks have been patient, probably more patient than I have been. Sorry. But I'm glad that it looks like as if we're finally going to work this out so that there is a real parity between the property side of the auditor's office and with the assessor's office.
Councilor McKim, and then I'll go to Munson next.
Actually, Councilor Hawk pretty much said what I was going to say, but I think that it's important to make it clear why we chose to disagree with some of the WIS recommendations. I mean, we obviously contract with a neutral arbiter for a reason, but one of the challenges with having the different positions analyzed and classified kind of piecemeal like this means that we really didn't get the sort of the parallels between the assessor's office and as Councilor Hawk said, the property side of the auditor's office kind of compared properly. And so that's when we chose the classifications to recommend here, we were clear to match the appropriate positions in the assessor's office with the appropriate positions in the auditor's office. On the other, also in the matter of going from 35 hours to 40 hours, I'll say I will pretty much always support that kind of move. I think that just there's clearly enough work to be done, and we need to be able to have having the higher salaries associated with the 40 hours means that we're able to retain good people. So I definitely support this request in its full.
Counselor Munson.
So my comment is that I want to thank PAC members for the work that they did and for being so thorough in collecting information and reviewing this so that the council could really think that there was some apples to apples comparison going on. And at the same time, I want to say that I'm disappointed in Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy because they need to pay attention to the particularities of the job descriptions that they are comparing, because otherwise they are not giving us comparative data, they're just giving us stuff, junk. And I don't like paying for that. So that puts a special burden on PAC members and our staff to more thoroughly make sure that we are getting the kind of information that we need. And all I can say is thank you again to everybody who worked hard on this.
Thank you very much. I just want to add to the chorus that I'm happy to see this coming before the council now. And if I had to bet my mortgage on this one, I'd say this one's going to pass. And I'm pleased by that. This process has not been easy on anyone in it, including your folks. And I did have a chance to go down there and to not only hear from them and their patients in that process, they're very kind about it, but also to see the expertise they have in there. And it was more than a few times clear that if roles were reversed and I were in their chair and they were in mine, they'd have an easier time in my chair than I would in theirs. And we have in every department, under every elected official or appointed body, we have tremendous county employees who make miracles happen for folks. And sometimes they do things for folks that are not easy. And I think that office in particular and the expertise it's got around the state was really on display in what I saw that day and what I hear. I mean, I hear it out there from people, constituents who deal with your office, get answers to their questions, et cetera. I am pleased also, I want to say, to see a bunch of counselors and a bunch of officials working together to get something done. I've said that to people that will listen. This job is about trying to get things done and problem solving. And it just never stops. We'll be on something else tomorrow. And that's part of the job. And if folks don't like it, don't sign up for it, because that's what you do. And I appreciate particularly Councilor Hawk for bringing this back when it needed to be back. I appreciate the nimbleness of our PAC members, Councilor McKim, Councilor Iverson, and every other counselor that patiently tried to figure out what they could do. When we go to the next problem, let's keep doing that. And hopefully we'll get to a good resolution. And hopefully this today takes care of the issue. So I'm going to vote yes. Any other comments from counselors? All right. Molly Turner King, who's got the counselor. Yes.
I just wanted to remind council before you vote on this that, and this has come up in the past, which is why I'm reminding council this, that increasing the salary classification will govern the overtime rate. The exempt versus non-exempt status is based off of the job description and not the salary classification. So by bumping these up, that's going to govern the overtime rate.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, let's see if the public has some comments. Public, if you have some thoughts, come forward in the Nat U Hill or raise your hand on Teams. Hearing none, let's move to a roll call vote.
Counselor Wiltz? Yes.
Counselor
Jefferson,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor McKim.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous.
Thank you very much.
And this has to be the fastest I've been up and back. 10 minutes. Thank you. My staff threatened me. They said, don't say anything, get in and get out.
I'd just like to say thank you to all of you for this process. It has been a little bit painful, but good result in the end. Kim, thank you for all of your help, and I know we still have more work to do as we go forward. And Molly, thank you to you. Appreciate you guys.
Lots of thanks to Lorraine. And this goes back to August, correct?
Oh.
I got you. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. We've got item 13A and B, counselors that will complete the evening along with council comments. Is it, counselor, are we okay to press through or? Everybody good? All right, we're gonna press. We'll go to item 13. It's a request from the legal department and Ms. Turner King.
Council, I move to approve the request to amend Resolution 2023-02 regarding the knowledge, skills, and abilities, KSA procedures.
Second.
So this is a request to amend the existing knowledge, skills, and abilities procedure, which is often referred to as our midpoint hires. This amendment would account for situations where departments might find it beneficial to hire an individual part-time before they can be moved into a full-time position. Currently, under the policy, there are 3 possible KSA hires. You can have no Monroe County employment, and then you can come in at the 3-year or the 8-year mark. You can be a part-time employee for 2 years and hire in at the 1-year mark, or you can transfer from department to department. Among those 3 options, what happens is individuals who are hired part-time and then moving to full-time are disqualified from obtaining a KSA. So this amendment is trying to address that situation. And the language that you will find being added is in section 1, which basically says that a full-time applicant who has current Monroe County part-time employment history will not either benefit or be hindered by the part-time history. So in essence, even if you have part-time history, you could qualify for the 3 or 8-year KSA mark. And that's the first part of it. And then the second part is kind of sheriff's office specific. It pertains to individuals hiring in the positions of correctional officer or merit deputy. And what it says is if an individual has both Monroe County history and law enforcement history, the greater of the 2 will govern the KSA. That's the only changes.
Okay. So, like most things, these things arise from real situations in the application of processes. And this resolution would address those situations that we've had brought to our attention.
I think so. But incumbent in the decision of amending the policy to state as what I just stated would be a council decision as how far retroactive you would like to make this policy. I did have employee services help me do a little bit of research. If you retroactively made this policy to the last 6 months, we've hired in 43 full-time employees of the county, but potentially of those 43, 6 people would be affected by this policy change. Of those 6 people, 1 person is still currently part-time. So it would only affect that individual if they move to a full-time status. And 2 of the other 6 would not be impacted at all, as they're at the rate they would be even if this policy was changed. So potentially 3 people could be impacted. 4.
Hi. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
I'm going to push our little button.
This
Folks,
is
the
really,
sheriff's here.
this is really fast. I give you my word, this is really fast. I'm going to pass the on to Chief Parker. He put a lot of work into this on our side. So it's only appropriate that he will give you a little bit more from his perspective as well.
So very quickly, and the issue that Molly brought up here, I'm going to shed a little more light on that, and hopefully you'll see how important that is to us. But this came up when we were hiring a new deputy through our selection process. And as you know, the council has done a tremendous amount of work, and I'll give you credit where credit's due, to bring those salaries up in the jail that we're 100% staffed there. And that's largely due to everything that's been done in the last year and a half there. So we're moving on the merit side. And when we hired this young deputy, he had about 5 years of experience. He's academy certified. And those are the people we're reaching out and trying to claw in here, because that young fellow that we hired is going to be on the road working independently, probably here within 2 weeks. He's been here about less than a month, maybe about 3 weeks. When you compare that to a person coming with no experience, there's an FTO period that's about 3 months. There's the academy that's about 4 months. So you're talking anywhere from 7 to 8 months before that person, you realize the benefit of having a new body on the road. So if we go back to this 6 months, those folks that are talking about, those are 3 people. We just hired another deputy that's merit certified. We hired one back in November that was merit certified. And those 3 people are all affected by this retroactive part. And I'll be honest with you, we use this as a recruiting tool. And that's how we attracted those folks. And had it been not for Kim pointing out the little fine print in this, we were all like exasperated. And she's just the one that found it for us. So I'm not throwing stones at Kim here. She just says, we've got to do something. And that's how when we put our heads together. And, I got to give Kim and Molly props. They have worked on this tirelessly. They've kept us in the loop. We have talked to our employees that we had kind of, recruited them with this, and they're all very understanding. So I would ask that the council really give this strong consideration. It will help us achieve 100% staffing here in our application pool we've already got now. We've already got some certified folks that are looking to come over here, because the pay compared to surrounding counties is really good. The agency's humming along here. So I would like to make those 3 people right if we can. Make sense?
Sure. Questions or comments from council? Councilor Iverson.
I mean, as soon as you said this is a recruitment tool, this makes all the sense in the world. You want folks out there who know what they're doing, and that it just makes all the sense in the world.
And that's what we're getting. We've got a guy who has 20 years of law enforcement experience that came here. We have one that we just hired with 8 years of law enforcement experience, and then we have the 5-year guy. So it goes 5, 8, 20. So those are really quality people. 2 of those individuals had rank on the other departments they came to. So they gave up, a long-standing career there with rank status to come to this county, because it is now so attractive to come here. And we're gonna be fully staffed here. I truly believe by late spring, early summer, we're gonna be fully staffed here.
First, how far back do we go to capture the 3?
I think it would be September 1st. I had employee services look at 6 months, and the 2 that I'm aware of are captured within that time frame.
I know we just hired our other officer here last week, so you probably know about him. So the two that you're thinking about will fit inside the 6 months window easily. So.
And currently, can you scroll? Not here. Currently, the second paragraph under the now therefore be it resolved clause says this resolution is effective the date of signature. I left it like that, waiting to see what the council's decision was. Ms. Shell is prepared to put whatever date you want in there so that it will be reflected in the ordinance and with a signature page.
The other question I have is about the second paragraph. I guess. In the red? In the red, yes. Thank you. Okay, sorry. The second additional paragraph. Why is that necessary? I'm not sure I understand why it wouldn't be assumed that that was the case.
I think this goes to one of the exact situations that we're referencing where an individual had prior Monroe County experience, but then left Monroe County, got hired by a law enforcement agency outside the county, remained there as an officer for a greater period of time than his Monroe County experience, but then he didn't qualify for a KSA under the policy.
So I think he had, and I'm guessing here, I think he had like 3 years. Is that right? Prior, and he would be at the 8th year with the, if you went with the service, the deputy.
Why does that not apply to outside the sheriff's office?
I guess that it could apply in other departments it doesn't have to be law enforcement specific. Law enforcement was the issue that it came up in.
It makes sense to me that the greater of the two, and I recognize that the original statements under the now report be it resolved, they have no prior Monroe County government work history. So it's going in direct contradiction to that. And I guess if we're making an exception for the sheriff's office, which seems reasonable, I'm wondering, maybe I'm needing to be reminded what the logic was.
The original intent for allowing KSAs for individuals with non-Monroe County government history was to attract outside qualified candidates. That was what the discussion was when this policy was last amended.
That was really it?
Yeah.
And I was there. Well, it seems like to me that if someone had worked in Monroe County and left, we'd still want them back if they were good. So in any department.
And that's what we do. We give them prior years of service.
We don't use the KSA policy to.
Correct. 9 times out of 10, their prior years of service has not come up in a KSA, because the KSA is normally for those that are, that are not.
I think what usually happens is when an individual returns, the applicable experience for the position for which they're returning doesn't justify the KSA, which usually is not the case with law enforcement. You have prior law enforcement experience and you're being hired as a deputy. It's definitely applicable.
I just wonder if we'll be back here for some other session. A few months, and why not just say, if the person applying, the applicant is applying to Monroe County government and have prior experience that's relevant as well as additional outside experience that's relevant to greater than two. Oh, sorry, you wanted it here.
Oh, you're doing well.
Does that make sense? Am I just? That's what this says, the greater of the two will be the determining factor. Try to change it as little as possible.
Yeah. Thoughts on that, Councilor Munson?
I think it should be cumulative.
Well, I was wondering why it wasn't that too, but it's sensitive to.
Because good experience is good.
Yeah. Councilor Hawk?
Trying to follow along with this rather disjointed conversation. But I recall, was it last year? Maybe we are not supposed to say what department, whatever, but there was someone that worked in one department and they were able to hire someone and pay them more if they weren't already working here than if they moved from one department to another. Now, that's just wrong. I mean, why would we say, if you're an employee of county government and you're working at, make up, you know, a Pat A, you want to move to another position, there's a Pat A. The person getting hired outside of county government could get paid at a Pat A so many years experience and more than the person that's telling. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, that's.
Councilor Munson?
I'd like to add another comment, and that is I have to remind myself that we established compensation for the work being done and not for the individual, their experience, etc. It is the job that is being compensated.
I have one quick question for Molly. Is there a 3 tier? Is it a 3A and a
Just
14? Just 3 and a
3 and 8.
3 and 8. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So Councilor Wilts had asked some questions about the second paragraph. Does the staff or legal have any comments, thoughts on that if we were to look at a possible change there? I have some comments about the first paragraph, but I want to make sure on the second that we're addressing any potential revision that we could do.
I can amend the paragraph right now, which is what I'm working on. So it will say, it should also be noted that.
You want me to?
It will read, it should also be noted in the event that a qualified applicant applying for a position in Monroe County government who has both Monroe County government history and prior applicable history, the greater of the two will be the determining factor for KSA.
Councilor Munson?
I think we would like to be able to see the script. Or whatever.
She's modifying it now, and as soon as she gets it done, she'll send it to me and I'll pop it up. She's not logged into Teams.
Okay, and can full.
I had it as big as it could be.
Let's give that a second. Let me make the comments I was going to make on the first paragraph while we're kind of looking at that. Is one thing I like about the first paragraph is I recall when we were first looking towards the problem solving, it was, well, does part-time do this or does part-time not do this? And we simply went with another option that wasn't available, and it doesn't do anything, and sort of hit the problem on the head in a different way. And that kind of problem solving effort is something I think that we have to figure out here all the time. Hopefully that isn't making some other issue down the road, but we'll deal with that problem when that comes up. All right, I buy you as much time as possible there. Councilor Iverson.
Councilmember McKinney, that's his hand raised.
He was gone.
And this people notification.
But he's welcome to come back if you, no, I think he had a. Somebody's there. We'll give this just a second. We'll get this as right as we can. Okay. Now where's Hillary? Here we go. We've got the revised paragraph 2.
That's it.
Counselor Wiltz, are we getting closer?
Yeah. I think for clarity, I should add after the second prior applicable history outside of Monroe County.
I was going to suggest
Okay.
other prior. That makes sense. Yeah, go for that.
Other counselors, what are your thoughts on the changes to second paragraph? Yeah.
So, I think it excludes valuable experience that we would like to see outside.
So if someone worked for Monroe County government for 8 years, well, let's say less, 3 years, and then they went away and they worked for 3 years, and then they come back, we say, wow, they have 3 years of experience. But this, your suggestion is we should take a look at them as having 6 years. I agree.
So you're saying if it's 3 outside, 3 inside, you just say 6 together.
It's about the type of experience. We've really worked hard on that, I think, in the procedures that follow. But we're essentially negating the whole purpose of this resolution that says it's not applicable to county government.
Which is what I was about to say. I think maybe the easier solution, the intent of the council is to allow someone who has prior Monroe County history to qualify for a 3-year or 8-year salary. It's just to delete that second paragraph. And up here where it says knowledge, skills, and abilities process for non-Monroe County government, just take the for non-Monroe County government applicant out, and any reference to Monroe County work history would be negated. And so in essence, it would strike that. And then if a department was requesting a KSA application, they would list all of the applicants' prior history, Monroe County or not Monroe County, and then when Miss Simpson stopped, they would be looking at history.
Mm-hmm.
Councilor Hawk.
Yes, there's always 2 sides to every question. We know that. And I would still like to think that we are encouraging our employees to stay and not to be jumping ship and then coming back in 2 years and we're rewarding them. I understand. We want the very best applicant for every position that the taxpayers are paying for. So it's a conundrum. I'll just wait to see what you folks want to do. I would like to make sure that we understand our employees that are here, that we are making sure that we put them at the top of the list of being respected.
Well, don't we do that anyway by internally hiring folks for things?
We used to just do it one at a time. whatever we want.
Let me ask a question here because it looks like we've got some consideration about some language and potentially additional language. So I'm going to throw this out and see if this might be something that folks would be down with. That first paragraph where it seems like folks mostly agree tonight, if we were to adopt this resolution with the first paragraph, that takes care of the current conundrum. Could it later revision to either the second paragraph, and we'd probably want to go without it tonight, with a revision with the second paragraph language somewhere, or this discussion weighed more heavily? Is that possible to adopt this with just first read paragraph, not do anything else, and then come back to make sure we're not doing unintended damage or benefits?
What can do if the council's would adopt it with that, go and delete this paragraph that I've highlighted, and if the change you could adopt tonight with that first paragraph. I would have to draft with this incorporating thoughts, which is Monroe County side history.
How's that, friends? If we dealt with that first paragraph and left the larger question to potential better deliberation. Councilor Iverson.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure that we're not leaving 3 married deputies in the lurch.
That was going to be my question. I don't think the first paragraph fixed that.
Paragraph addresses one of the situations. The second paragraph does, but the second situation that I'm aware of is addressed by the second paragraph.
Gotcha. Okay. I was wrong.
So if we just, I talked to Molly about this, if we just replace greater with combination, would that not solve the problem that we're talking about here?
It does to some extent.
Yeah, all right.
It does to some extent, but I think that Molly, as Molly pointed out, the whole first part talks about how this is only applicable to people who don't have Monroe County employment history.
Yeah.
And so it becomes almost nonsensical if we're saying, oh, but by the way, if they do, we'll do this.
Right.
So
I think if you're going to change it so that it doesn't matter if your prior experience is with Monroe County or outside of Monroe County, I think I have to go back and change a couple of the whereas clauses at the beginning of the resolution and some phrasing here and throughout.
Yeah, because in one of the therefores, it says applicants with no prior, and that's number 1 on page 1, so.
Okay.
The other change that I would propose, if we're just going to adopt paragraph 1, I still would like to change the sentence up at the top, which says, the resolution is effective as of the date of signature. It shall be retroactively applied to September 1st of 2023. Yep.
So let me ask you this question. If we were to get the language cleaned up based on what councilors are saying in first part, middle part, and adopt at next meeting, is that a potential or is that causing harm? And I'm kind of looking all directions here.
Here's what I would tell you. We've been working through this going back to November. So if I'd rather get it right.
Okay.
And then go back. If 2 weeks is, necessary to do that. I don't think we're in any worse position than we were when we walked in here. It's just another 2 weeks. So we can, would you agree, Sheriff? I'd rather get it right than.
Okay. That's good.
And I'm happy to do it, make a draft either way. I can amend this draft that only includes the first paragraph, and then you can address this in 2 parts. Or I can have an entirely new draft for the next meeting, and then we can address it in 1 part.
Yes, Councilor Wills.
I think because of the conflicting language, I would strongly prefer putting it on 2 weeks. If it's not going to cause a problem with these employees for 2 more weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Even if it's, in 2 weeks, we're still going to have the retroactive date to capture and correct these situations.
In the spirit of the council, seems to be to fix this, so.
Yeah, I know the spirit of what we're trying to do here, and the sheriff does. So I tend to agree with that.
No, I agree as well. I prefer doing it right. Retroactive is the key word for me, so that's gotta work. That way we're not losing good people.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Chief Deputy. All right, so councilors, without objection, I would like to table this resolution to the work session. Any objection?
No objection.
So ordered. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
April 23rd for those watching at home. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Turner King, for doing that live on the spot. That's not many attorneys can do those things. Let's go to item B.
Council, I move to approve the request to approve Resolution 24-15, establishing procedures for payment of accumulated compensatory time.
Second. All right. And this is also going to be Ms. Turner King.
So the comp time policy amendment is just to basically reflect the procedure that we have kind of already been using the out comp time. The procedures would, it just clarifies that if a department has an individual leaving as comp time, and you can see out the salary line is not, there's not enough appropriation to cover the case comp time payout. You would recommend a category transfer. No. Yeah, in-house, and then it would only come to council for a category or an additional.
Okay.
This change also would make it, what would happen is the department waits to come to council for every contract payout. It could potentially delay an employee departing from the county's final payment. It could delay the county's final contribution to that employee's per account. This way would be a quicker way to accomplish that. And previously, the council had expressed interest in having departments come to request a contract payout so that you can track them. But now that the county, most departments have moved over to the AOD, there are reports that we can run AOD to track who is receiving contract payments.
Okay. Councilor Wills.
Which departments have not moved to AOD? Which departments are not on AOD?
The 2 that come to mind are the sheriff's department and the jail, and I know that we're currently working on those. Clerk.
The clerk.
Is that just because it's going to happen, it's moving forward?
Yeah, the goal is that every,
I wonder.
the last day I heard was the end of the year.
Interesting. So, because part of it, I hear what you're saying, part of the justification
is that now we have access on our own without having to micromanage folks. We can look at what comp time payout has been. But if they're not participating in that system, maybe this doesn't apply to them, is a suggestion. Like, as soon as they come online, then this applies to them, but.
It would be applicable currently. I think we can still track the payments through our payroll. So it would make it easier.
Yeah.
Even on a voucher, you know, the ones that we used to have, you still have to put on there that it's comp.
And where it's coming from. I will also add that there has been proposals currently to change the on-time policy. It currently is sitting in the personnel information system, the commissioners, the presiding judge, and the prosecutor. It would change it so that it would change the amount of hours that we would maintain as comp time from 40 to 60, but there's also there's proposed amendment to the policy that says an employee use comp time for any other employee, which would if that was in effect, would bring
Yeah.
Okay. And we also added, where employee services was a quarterly report.
That's what, I thought that was in there, yeah. Okay.
All right, other comments or questions from counselors on this resolution? Okay. Let's go. Yes, Counselor Hawk.
Okay, I'm just trying to follow along with this.
Let's say if, sort, okay, let's say if someone who works in a department and the department head is allowing a lot of comp time buildup, well, maybe it's their really good friends and we're going to let that build up. And then the person's going to maybe move to another department and they have suddenly got a lot of cash in their pocket. Are we encouraging that? I mean, I just am thinking about things that could happen.
One, if I may, just for a moment, I don't know that you all can answer that question because I think that's more of one of us, but I always say this, any department under an elected official where something is occurring that would be untoward, unseemly, or unethical is always subject to someone saying, how did that happen? Why did that happen? And who did it happen with? It's the classic, what did they know and when did they know it? And if State Board of Accounts or anyone else for that matter, prosecutors and whatnot, got a hold of the wrong thing and determined anything wrong, they might make a case for some issues there. I think we all operate under those sorts of things. I generally have found that the comp time policy enables departments and employees to do and get what they need for when they do it, and then move on down the road towards the next headache. Yeah. Councilor Wells.
I think in response to Marie's scenario, I'm not sure that this changes the motivations. It changes how we do stuff, how they pay it out. I think the upcoming potential change that the policy or the personnel administration committee is considering about requiring comp to be used might, will be very helpful. But I don't know that this really changes that, the motivations of how people use comp time. It cleans up and streamlines their process for getting it paid out.
Other questions or comments? Well, if none, I think we'll go to public comment on this. Public, if you have a comment, come forward and that you help, or raise your hand on Teams. Seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes, I guess.
Yeah. I think if we try this and it doesn't work, we'll have to try something else.
Yeah, always the case.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Kim is not present, Counselor Decker.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous.
All right. That's going to take us to item 15, which is council comments. Councilors, do you have comments you'd like to make tonight and inform the public? Councilor Iverson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I'm wearing a sticker on my shirt because I voted. And early voting starts today, and it goes every single weekday until the day before the election, which is May the 6th, from 8 to 6. That's the morning to the evening. Please vote. It is your duty as an American citizen or as a naturalized citizen, and we just really encourage you to vote, no matter who you are, where you are, just vote.
Councilor, I just want to do one slight correction, May 7th.
Thank you.
Election.
Thank you. I've been needing to be corrected tonight, so I appreciate all of it.
Me too. We're in good company. Councilor Crossley.
A couple of things. One, sorry. I just also wanted to, I know I said it privately to my colleagues, but I also wanted to say it to my colleagues here and to council staff. Thank you for thinking of me and my family during our time of bereavement. A couple of weeks ago, I lost my grandmother who lived a beautiful 101 years of lovely life. And the flowers that were sent were awesome and amazing. Thank you. And I ask, unfortunately, again, to keep our family in your thoughts and prayers and well wishes, as this past Saturday, I lost my mom. So hearts are heavy, but I have colleagues and friends of this county to keep me going. So I just say thank y'all so much for lots of things. I don't know who left the Reese's here, but I thank you because it's actually a really good thing because that's one of my favorites. So I just wanted to say thank y'all so much for all of that. On a non-emotional moment here, I wanted to give like a really brief update in regards to our joint constituent meeting that myself and along with Councilmember Asari from our city council had, and it was a really good, healthy, robust conversation. Mr. DeVaskins was there and he made a comment, and that basically said something to the effect of people always give, you know, their dates of constituent talks, but never really give a conversation and a brief update about how, you know, those conversations had. So I thought that was really interesting. And I know last week, Councilmember Asari gave his remarks in his meeting. And then for me, this is my time. So just briefly, we went over some updates in regards to the city and what they were doing and conversations in the county as well. And the general consensus that we had in that room was that people want to see more collaboration between both bodies and really get a feel and a big understanding as how we can all work together and what is our roles and our lanes as well. So with that being said, one of the biggest takeaways from that is that the city also has Jack Hopkins Social Service Grant Committee, more like our Sophia Travis Grant Committee. And, you know, I really there was a general consensus of really trying to figure out how we can really try to do something together with both pots of money, if that is a possibility, because we have applicants in both sides that will pull from both of those. But just really, that was a really interesting conversation. So stay tuned, and then we will have another one April 27th, which is the fourth Saturday, and we have a special guest. I'm not sure if they are confirmed just yet, but again, our goal and our mission and our meetings is to bring government bodies alike so our communities can be informed in one setting, and that is all.
Thank you, Counselor Crossley. Counselor Hawk.
Yes. I apologize for being out of the room when this was discussed, so now I'm trying to figure out what happened. I'm not on. Oh, it's crazy.
Well, you need the little round.
Now can you hear me? Am I on?
Is it green?
Yes.
Is it green?
Is it working?
Do you see green on the?
I thought I had one. That pushed it in.
I see green, I believe.
I have this off now. Does it matter?
No, you can hold it. There's the green light.
Now it's working?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
hold it near your mouth.
Okay.
Put this little thing near your mouth.
This.
This is the portion right here.
This is
This little fuzzy thing.
the phone thing. Put that near your mouth.
Now can you hear me? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'll just talk louder. Okay. I was out of the room when you worked on this. You were quick. I mean, you did everything you possibly could get done while I was gone for 3 minutes. But I'm trying to figure out about the $402,570 for additional appropriations in a fund that does not have that and will not have that. And in order to send it off to get this approved. So I'd already contacted the office and talked to the sheriff's department about it and so forth, to saying, perhaps we should just go ahead and appropriate what has been advertised, because it wasn't advertised. It was advertised for that much, but there's not that much money in there. So it is the only fund that was advertised to cover that. So I had suggested, well, let's just approve an appropriation for whatever dollar amount is in there. We've got 3 months worth in there, and that would buy us a little time, about 1/4 what they need. And then we'll figure out the rest of it later. But so did this vote go through that? Yes, we're approving money that we don't have. Well, folks, I just don't dare ever leave the room.
Well, let's pause here because we're in council comments. Let's figure out.
Remember, I can't see what.
Let's figure out, make sure we know what we need to know here so that the public can follow this and keep some sense. Item number 10, I believe, is what Counselor Hawk is referring to.
Mhm.
We appropriated $402,570. Auditor, do you have any comments on this?
I do. Just a couple of points, just for clarity. When we budget, we never have all of the cash on hand. We have settlement twice a year, so in June and December. So tax revenue, we know we're going to receive it. It's for certain. It could, vary by a little bit with rounding, but it's going to be very, very close. Grants, sometimes we have a little bit more concern. We want to make sure we have those contracts fully approved and executed, all that good stuff. But with this, it's just kind of normal operation for the county. So we anticipate, and like I said, give or take a few dollars, $424,260 in this fund. Now, this decision was, obviously, it's already been approved, completely up to you as far as if you want to appropriate that prior to receiving all the funding, or if you want to let it build. Clearly, the majority chose to go ahead and appropriate. So this is the normal operations, that we typically follow. We discussed it.
And we discussed it at the prior meeting as well. Sure. Counselor Hawk, go ahead.
Okay. And my laptop died on me, so I'm having trouble trying to read what she's saying. When we put together budgets in the fall for what we're going to do next year and in the general fund, well, you've already got cash built up in there. So you can go ahead and, oh, thank you. Yeah, I can see one. Okay. So you already have the cash in that general fund that you're carrying forward to the next year. So we have time to, go ahead and budget for what is maybe not all totally there yet, but we know that's part of the regular process. But in this particular case, it's a brand new fund and there's no carryover balance. It started for this year. So now we only have like $100,000 and some thousand in there right now. And if we send an additional appropriation up to the state to say we want to appropriate $400,000, I would think they're going to come back and say, well, no, they're going to deny that and only give us whatever we have. Now, I don't know, maybe there's some other thing altogether, and this is relatively new for us to have a brand new fund. But I just feel very uncomfortable to approve $400,000. Well, actually, when we looked at the projection, when Kim sent us the projection of what the total cost was going to be, it's going to be more than what this fund is even going to be bringing in. It's like, I forget, I just looked at it today. You just sent it out this afternoon. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to cover it. Of course I want to cover it. I just want to make sure we're not. Yeah, right. I wanted it to go smooth. I just thought, well, we'll just, this is the one we advertised, so we can budget whatever out of there until we can figure out what we're going to do next meeting. But if everybody thinks it's just fine, there you go, whatever.
Councilor Munson, do you have some comments you'd like to
I
add?
want to weigh in on this because it's my understanding that in our normal course of budgeting, annual budgeting, we do have new funds and we do not fully have in the bank ready to go revenue to cover those funds. We count on the state distributions that come twice a year to fully cover us. And so to me, it seems like just normal business. That was my thinking.
Can I ask a question? This money comes in every month, 1/12.
Yeah.
And they've already told us how much we're going, Yes, like $424,600, something.
Yeah.
But I still off.
Yeah.
I hate this thing.
You
don't even have.
On now, just put the little plum thing near your mouth.
Okay. You know what? If you guys think that's fine, I'm not even going to fuss about it anymore. I mean, I would think we send it to the state and say, we want an additional appropriation. That's what we're asking for, an additional appropriation, $400,000. And they're going to look at it and they're going to say, you don't have that. This is not like an annual, but if the auditor has already got this all worked out and you guys all think this is fine, I will just shut up and go home. It is time
So,
to go today.
so I think the auditor has advised us on the issue. I think she's monitoring this and her literal job is to monitor the funds of this. I mean, she calls me all hours of the day and warns me about other things. And I appreciate that because it means she's doing her job. And if she detects an issue, I think she can follow up. This council meets every 2 weeks without fail. We do not cancel meetings and we can do what we need to do. But I think for now, we will proceed through council comments. Okay. Thank you, Councilor Hogg. It's a good note to have concern. We're going to look into that, make sure we're always okay. We'll be okay. Did you, Councilor Munson, did you have comments?
I did have a comment, totally unrelated to what we've just been discussing, but it's actually a follow-up on Councilor Iverson's announcement, reminding us of April 22nd, Arbor Day. And I read about a program here in Bloomington called Canopy Bloomington. And I hope you all know a little bit about this. This is urban forestry advocacy with the work carried out by young people in our community. And I want to see Canopy Monroe County as well. There surely are enough young people and there's plenty need for both. I don't want to call it urban forestry. We could call it suburban forestry because we do need to have those shady sidewalks and bike paths and trails, etc. And we do need to have people's homes protected by a canopy to for climate resilience. So anybody thinking of expanding canopies, I will be glad to help you.
I've got one final thing here, and before we wrap up, Monroe County Community Health is doing a needs assessment. And this is a product of many different collaborations. But essentially, I just want to tell the public, if you live, work, or play in Monroe County, and you are thinking about community health or your own role in community health, there are several different community conversations that will be taking place. These are underway across the community. And one thing I'll just offer on this, particularly for stakeholders at every level, the community health assessment is a good way to weigh in on what your health experience is. And when I've listened anecdotally to folks, there are a lot of folks at every different level across this community that have health struggles. And so to weigh in on those community conversations, to have your voice recorded in that, a few of those dates, April 10th at Allison Jukebox from 6 to 7:15 p.m., April 16th from 5:30 to 6:45 at the Ellisville branch of the Monroe County Public Library, April 22nd, 1 to 2:15 at the Bloomington Housing Authority, April 30th, Cars Farm Park Shelter number 6, also known as the Commons. And then finally, another to be announced with more detail at El Centro. And these are good opportunities to weigh in. If you want more information on that, you can check out Monroe County Health Department on Facebook. They'll have things, as well as email Kathy Hewitt there at the department, K Hewitt, HEWETT @co.monroe.in.us. I would follow our health department for updates, which I know a lot of folks do. Okay, Molly's got something as well.
Hi, remember in the beginning I warned you I have an ARPA request. So council and commissioners have previously approved and appropriated an ARPA project that purchases gun safes and locks. And recently business owners have communicated that they would like to have signage that they can put in their restaurants to say, hey, we have this service. You can't have a firearm on property, but there's gun safe and gun lock available. So I was asked to request to see if council would approve the purchase of said signs. The business owner signs that say, hey, we have this service available.
This would be an appropriation in ARPA.
It would just basically extend the appropriation already. So the appropriation and project is for gun safes and gun locks. This would add the signage that advertises those purchases to the public. Yeah, same amount of money. I will check with Mr. Cockrell to see if the ARPA plan needs amended. I know he's discussing it with the commission tomorrow. So if an amendment does need to be forthcoming.
Yeah, I think the language coming around would be helpful for counselors to take a look at, and maybe a little bit more background on the information. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, Councilor Hunt.
Did you mention the Steinsville thing?
Did I mention what about Steinsville?
Well, the assistance to Steinsville.
Are you talking about the issue that I forwarded to the county commissioners regarding the cleanup?
Yes.
Is this meeting adjourned or are we still going?
No, is this something you want to talk about in the meeting, Counselor?
Yes, I'd like to know what the outcome was.
All right, I'm going to report to the public so they can understand what's happening since you are off microphone. Councilor Hawk is referring to a request that came from the town board of Steinsville regarding a property the county owns and which is under direction of the commissioners. On, I can't remember what night, but a few nights ago, Councilor Hawk and the town council member brought this to my attention. I forwarded the issue onto the county commissioners. They indicated they were following up on behalf of the town of Steinsville.
think I've
I-
read it.
I can also add that I brought it to Justin Roddy, the attorney in our office, who is already helping with 2 additional property cleanups in Steinsville.
I think I've got this now. Can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Okay. What I wanted to do was say a big thank you to our law enforcement and one from Ellisville as well, who went right away in response to the concerns that they received. And so that's what I was trying to get across, but thank you.
I got you.
Uh,
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap this meeting up. Thank you very much, everybody. We are adjourned. Thank you.
I never